Okay, so we had gotten through the adjusting entries on this problem, this crazy mountain outfitters problem. And we had talked about what net income looked like before the adjustments, what net income looked like after the adjustments, and how it affected the owner's capital. Okay, so the next thing I want to show y'all is this worksheet. This is a trial balance worksheet. It is a tool. It is not required. It is a worksheet. It's optional. If you want to use it, you can use it. It's very helpful in determining what your adjusted numbers are. So what we did in the other classes was post the adjustments on here so you can kind of see. Because if you tried to just go from the unadjusted trial balance, you made your adjusting entries, and then you just tried to go straight to prepare a new trial balance, you've got to go, okay, well, I got to add this to this, and all that. So this is just a worksheet to help you. All right, so let me just kind of show you how it works. So the first entry that we had, this is page 11 on your worksheets. The first entry we had was to adjust supplies. We had a debit to supplies expense and a credit to supplies. No? And right now?
I mean, I took it last night, but it was at 11:52, so I was trying to answer questions. But
did you take any notes at all?
I did. I just stopped at page 10.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so real quick, let me scroll back up here. All right, here's your adjusting entries. So if you don't have them in your notes, copy them down real quick, or take a picture of them, or whatever you want to do. Just make sure you have them, so you follow what we're doing. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I gotta put some kind of something that is light enough where I don't get hot and I don't get cold. I can't look at my mom. It's gonna be cold in the morning. In the morning. Y'all don't get up and put shorts on. You freeze. Who's excited about cold weather? Y'all don't like you don't like the cold weather, Arthur? You like the hot? Moderate hot. It's too hot. It's too hot. And y'all let me know when you drink. And for the other parts 2 and 3, you can go back and catch that other video. It was just kind of an illustration, just kind of showing you how the adjusting entries affect net income. Like if you don't make them, it can be good or bad, I guess. So good? Almost there? Good? Huh?
Give me like 2 more seconds.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, and I forgot to put your homework out there on time. I thought I'd already posted it, and I went and checked last night, and I was like, crap. So I did give y'all till tonight to do that. Midnight tonight. I gave you an extra day since I messed up.
Is it going to take as long as the last time?
I don't know. I can look and see what the total minutes are and tell you. I need to start posting that on the assignment. Was it y'all or was it the Wednesday people that asked for that? To put the time on there. How long will it take us? I think it's the Wednesday people. Or the 11 o'clock class. and I mean to do it, I just forget, because when I pick problems, it has like the average time it takes the average student to finish the problem. But some of them, it'll have like 1 second. So I know that that's obviously not right. So, I mean, I can put the time out there so you can plan, but you got to look at it. You got to like click on the assignment, and I'll have it in the instructions before you click the link. Okay, so that's our adjustments that we made. All right, so this worksheet. Okay, what we use it for is to just kind of get our ending numbers. So looking at our adjusting entries, we're just going to post them on our worksheet. This is our unadjusted numbers. These 2 columns are our adjustments, and these 2 columns are our adjusted numbers. Okay, so if we put, oh yeah, I keep forgetting that. Add supplies expense at the bottom. Every year I forget to correct that. Okay, so supplies expense was a debit of $58.20. So we'll put $58.20 in that left hand. That's the debit column of your entries. And then we'll show a credit to supplies for $58.20. And then accounts receivable, we debited $3,900, and we credited fees earned. I think we're going to have a couple of entries to fees earned, so just kind of write it on the top half of the. Leave yourself some space to add another entry. Gosh, really. There's a lag or something. It's driving me nuts. All right, depreciation expense, $3,000. So that'll go in the debit column. And accumulated depreciation, $3,000. And then wages expense, $24.75 debit. And accumulated depreciation. Oh, did I post that $3,000 in the wrong place? No, I didn't. Wages, I'm sorry, I've moved down. My brain is going 90 miles an hour in the wrong direction. $24.75 on wages payable. We had a debit to wages expense, $24.75 payable. All right, and the last one was a debit to unearned fees for $14,140 and a credit to fees earned for $14,140. Okay, so all we'll do now is just take our beginning unadjusted number, add or subtract any adjustments, and bring our balance over here. So we didn't have anything that we ran through cash, so we'll just bring the balance over. So we've got a debit balance in accounts receivable, and we're adding a debit. So what would the ending number there be? Calculators, calculators. Is Monday like the worst for y'all? What y'all do all weekend?
68,700.
What y'all do all weekend? Do I want to know? Supplies is a debit balance, and we're crediting supplies. So what do we have there? $1,380. Go get that. Go try. I'm gonna start playing stuff with y'all. I'm gonna bring tomatoes and put on the top. That'd be ugly when somebody did that to me one time. That's not nice. However, I thought it was funny at the time. I had to pull the car over because I couldn't keep driving. All right, equipment. We didn't have any adjustments to equipment, so we're just going to bring that balance over. But accumulated depreciation, we have no beginning balance because remember, I'm sure the problem told us that it was a new company. So this is the first time they've had depreciation. So we'll just bring that over here, and that's their new balance and accumulated depreciation. Accounts payable, we didn't adjust, so just bring the balance over. Wages payable, that's a new payable, or we're adding that, nothing to begin with, so we didn't have to change anything. Unearned fees. You're getting 5,060. You see where you would take your beginning credit balance. We have a debit, so we're going to subtract it. Does that make sense? We begin with a credit balance and unearned fees. Our adjustment is a debit, so we've got to subtract that. You get that, Takisi? Okay. All right, capital, we didn't do anything with. We didn't do anything with drawing either. All right, fees earned. We've got to add. Fees earned is a credit, and we've had 2 credit adjustments. So we've got to add those to fees. Y'all check my math. Make sure I'm right. All right, then wages expense we added 2475 to. We didn't change rent expense. We didn't change utilities expense. Depreciation is a new one. We're just adding. Miscellaneous didn't change. Come on. I'm so not the mood for this today. I hope y'all can read that because it's not going to let me erase it. And then 5820 for your supplies expense. Okay, I need totals for my 2 columns. I'm going to add up the adjustment columns while y'all are doing that. Because they should balance too. Y'all get anything yet? Huh? Yeah, the answers are supposed to be the same. If they're not, then we probably made a math error somewhere. Either in just adding it down or adding it across. What'd you get adding down?
For the existing cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
476,575.
What did anybody else get that?
I did.
You did?
And then I got 484,375.
Yeah, that's what I got for the savings.
Okay. So we obviously goofed up somewhere on our math. Okay, so let's look at it. I'm going through and I'm looking at each one of these to see if something looks messed up. Whoops, come on now. Go away. So what's the difference? 484, 375 minus 476, 8,000? Should have affected it. I'm still in the balance. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, 'cause that's a lot to be on. 17. Y'all see it anywhere? No, our adjustment columns balance. So we've just calculated something wrong going across, or we got it in the wrong column. Accumulated should be a credit. That should be a credit. Okay, so it must be an addition.
Is it the one for accounts receivable?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
we can-
Yep, because it should be added. When we subtracted. See, what I did was I was asking y'all what's the difference between these two, and it's roughly $8,000. Well, sometimes if you've got something on the wrong side, if you'll take your amount you're off and divide it by 2, you can kind of see, because if you put it on the wrong side, then you not only have it on the wrong side, now you have the other one wrong. Anyway, so yeah, you're right. 3,900 is it. Do what now? So irritating. What now? What's it supposed to be?
I think it was 76,500.
Okay, now that should make it work. So the total's probably supposed to be 484, 375. I think this thing's possessed. It's just lagging. I don't know what to do. Anybody add it but her? You were the only one adding up. You added it up. You should all be adding it up. I think she's about pretty good. What'd you get? The same. So you got 484, 375? Okay. All right, so from this column here, you can create your trial balance report, your adjusted trial balance report. You'll literally take the titles from over there and this right here, and you'll transfer it to this next form. It decides it wants to show up. I have no patience for this kind of stuff. It drives me nuts. So, I mean, you could say Crazy Mountain Outfitters. Adjusted trial balance, and then what's our date? April 30th, 2019. And what's the purpose of a trial balance report? Why would you do one? Make sure your debits and your credits equal. I mean, really don't have to go through this whole report, but you would just list everything down. Not touching while you're doing that. So, I mean, you're literally just gonna list everything down just like it is on a worksheet. I mean, we can do the whole thing if it helps, but do we need to do the whole thing? What are your thoughts?
It's just the same thing we did.
It is, it's just the same thing. You just literally, you could, if you had it on the computer, you could copy and paste it. So just, make a note, this is the same exact thing that's on the worksheet, whatever you want to do. All right, so the next thing we're gonna look at real quick is what happens if you leave adjustments off. So if you don't make adjustments, like this first example says for the year ended December 31, 2019, Peterson Dental mistakenly omitted the following journal entries. So they forgot to make them, or they didn't make them. They didn't do it on purpose, but they just didn't make them. They had $9,200 of unearned revenue that was earned. So they didn't show that revenue is being earned, recognized. 2,600 supplies were used and 4,950 of accrued wages were not recorded. So the question is, we're told to indicate the effect of the above errors on each item below. Would the omission itself result in an understatement or an overstatement of the amount and how much? Okay, so you got to kind of think about this. Overstatement means you've got too much reported because you didn't report, enough expense or something. Understated means your number's too low. So that's all that means. All right, so revenues. Would our revenues be understated or overstated if we did not recognize $9,200 of revenue? It'd be understated. By how much? We're not showing this. The entry would be to debit unearned revenue and credit fees earned or something. So your revenue is going to be too low. For your expenses, we didn't record this $2,600 of supplies expense. And we did not record $4,950 of wages expense. And in this one, we didn't record $9,200 of revenue. So all of these were just left off. All right, so if we had 2,600 of supplies expense and 4,950 of wages expense that we did not record, are our expenses understated or overstated? They're understated. We don't have enough, and we should have our expenses plus those two, so they'd be understated. But this is under. So it'd be 4,950 plus 2,600. 6,550. Is that right? $75. That's right. Add the $75.50. All right. Net income. So if I don't have enough revenue reported and I don't have enough expenses reported, is my looking at 9,200 of revenue missing, 75.50 of expenses missing. Is my net income understated or overstated? Come on, make y'all do push-ups or something.
That's understated.
Huh?
Understated.
It is. By how much? How do you get net income?
The revenues minus expenses.
Right. So you've got a revenue number here and you've got an expense number here. So how much is it understated?
The difference.
Yeah.
1650.
1650. Okay.
So if the expenses is more than revenue there, then it's overstated.
Then your net income will be overstated, yes. I think the next one is like that. All right, so this is the next example. For the year ended June 30, 2019, Anderson Medical Company mistakenly omitted adjusting journal entries for $6,000 of expired insurance. So what would that, if you had $6,000 of expired insurance, what would your entry be to adjust that? Holland, what is it? You know it. Your little wheels are trying so hard to turn. Do what?
Insurance expense.
It's insurance expense. So you got $6,000 of insurance expense left off. Okay, what about if they didn't record their depreciation? That's expense, right? So we'd be short on expense there. And then they had $14,500 of unbilled fees that were earned. So how would you record that if it was, how would you record that adjusting entry? Unbilled fees that were earned. They were earned.
Accrued.
It is accrued revenue, but how do you record accrued revenue?
What?
It is accrued revenue, that's correct. But how do you, we don't actually use, there's not actually an accrued revenue account. What do we use?
Fees earned.
Fees earned is part of it.
Accounts receivable.
Accounts receivable. So this would make our fees earned, our revenue would be, that's missing. All right, so our revenues are we've got 14,500 for the number, but are they understated or overstated? If we don't report 14,500,
Understated.
huh?
Under.
He's finally getting frustrated and he's just saying my answer, so I'll move on. Getting tickled at y'all. I feel like I'm your mom in your bedroom first thing in the morning going, get up, get up, get up, get up. Y'all miss that, not even being away from home. I just got to where I didn't do it anymore. She missed school. My daughter was the worst. She missed school, I don't care. Your problem, not mine. She's mean. Okay, expenses. We've got 2 expenses that we're dealing with here. So what's the total of those?
16,200.
Okay, so are we understated or overstated? Are you sick of me? You can say it. I don't care. I don't take it personally. I'm sorry. If I get a little sick later, out of aggravating sometimes. All right. That's what I get. I get to choke because I was laughing at you. Net income, is it understated or overstated?
Overstated.
It's overstated by how much? Even? I used to have a coworker that used to do that to me and it would drive me crazy. Because it would always have some change or something. I would just round it. I was like, I'm $500 off even? No, $505.35. You know, even. I need to come back to you. All right, that is it for that one. So I have got something that we're going to work on. All right, so what we're going to do is I have printed out, I've got you the, y'all remember the net solutions problem, right? That we worked on? Where we reported November and December transactions and posted them to a ledger and all that stuff. I can punch holes for you too later. It wasn't homework, we did it here. You did have to do the ledger homework, didn't you? All right, well, I've got your adjusting journal entries here. And I've got your ledger already filled out because I know y'all don't have it with you. You might, but I'm kind of guessing you probably don't. So what I want you to do is read those adjusting entries. You're going to record them on the next journal page, and then you're going to post them to the ledger. If I give you too much, I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out because I think I printed just enough copies. Hey, you don't have to do the whole ledger again. I'm gonna see. It is not bad. This one's quite serious. Hey, tell her she's something off and she's not figuring me out. She just thinks this is what you're nuts. If you have any questions while you're looking at it, ask me, because I would love to get through with this today and move on. Don't let this first one confuse you too much. I just kind of added those first sentences to give you the background of it so you would know what was happening. And the information you need is given to you right there. So. You don't want to punch holes in those things. You want to, yes. I thought you tried. I meant to do it.
Trial balance is the date, like, for the month ended, or is it just like straight up the date?
You're doing the journal entries first. You see how that? Don't
I
make
was
that
just
yet.
throwing it out.
You're gonna do that after you post everything. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. So that's what it's about.
No, I had to take a short, which is honestly very important.
You had to do what?
Take the short at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let my brain. I won't mess up a lot.
Sorry, y'all, I should have done it first. All right. Y'all remember how to do the journal entries.
I'm sure, yeah, there's some wacky problem.
You're struggling already?
It's the wording that gets me, like, I don't know how to.
Okay, so let's look at this first.
How do we do $20 an hour?
Y'all, like,
It's $500.
I told you to quit reading into it so much. Read the entire paragraph. On December 15, Net Solutions signed an agreement with Dankner Company to answer computer questions and render assistance to Dankner's employees. They're giving computer support. That's what they're doing. Yes, it's wordy and fluffy. These services will be billed to Dankner on the 15th of every month at a rate of $20 per hour. As of December 31st, Net Solutions had provided 25 hours of assistance to Dankner Company. The revenue of $500 will be billed in January. So this is revenue earned, but not billed. Because they're telling you they got revenue of $500. They've earned that revenue. They've provided that service, but they're not going to bill until January. So their fees earned, unbilled. Unbilled fees earned. I've seen that before.
Accounts receivable.
Mm-hmm.
And then under that, we got what?
Now you tell me. You know.
That's all that.
You know. What would be with accounts receivable?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. See if I think for you, what have I taught you? Nothing. I hear that a lot about the wording being different. And I'm trying to help y'all like learn how to interpret some of this stuff because I seem like y'all are a very literal
Yeah,
generation.
that's why I can't read this, like,
You are a very literal, or either you, like you said, just tell me, y'all don't have the patience to like work through it and figure out what they're saying.
it's really.
Cause he won't.
That's my thing, all that patience.
Patience is a virtue best learned. Don't ask God for it. Don't pray for patience. That's a mistake. Because he will teach you patience, and it's very painful. You will go through rough times and have to learn to be patient. Just practice it. Just practice being patient. Then maybe it's not so painful. Okay, the rest of them should make sense. As of December 31st, Net Solutions owes $250 of wages to employees for Monday and Tuesday of that week. So how is that gonna show?
Wages payable and wages expense
Yeah, which one goes first?
payable.
Wages expense is your debit because it's an expense. Wages payable is a credit because it's your liability.
I was talking to him.
Is what it is.
We were confused about which one went first.
Oh, yeah, I got it right, and you didn't? Steve didn't say that, did he?
I put up a paper one time, and he said,
And then I said, I don't care, because my brother, but
Yeah, sometimes things come out.
it was bad time.
The balance in the unearned rent account represents rent for 3 months. So you've got rent that was collected ahead of time, apparently. And when they collected it, it was a debit to cash and a credit to unearned rent. So how much is in unearned rent? So look at your ledger, it'll tell you. Look back on page 2 of your ledger on the very bottom. This is where they rented that land to that retailer so they could use it for a parking lot.
so the date's the first in there?
Now look at your ledger in the sheets I just gave you. You're gonna look at page 2 of your ledger, which is on end of the thing.
I thought the journal was like in chronological order.
These are the adjusting entries. We do the adjusting entries at the end of the month. We do the adjusting entries at the end of the month. Don't make me work today. So they're gonna all be dated December 31st. What I'm telling you is this is related to that entry we did earlier where they collected for 3 months of rent on that land. Okay, so it's coming back to you now? So we've got $360 in there. And now that December is finished, we have 1 month that we've actually earned the rent for. So how much would that be? Y'all can divide 360 by 3 in your head, I hope. 1,
Monthly?
3, yes. Yes, 120? And so now we're gonna debit unearned rent to get it out of there because we've now recognized it, or we've earned it rather. And now we're going to recognize it by recording. When I say recognize, that means we're gonna show it that it's happened. Look, you barely touch it with your paper in it. It won't do it when I'm trying, but when I'm not trying, it will. All right, as of December 31st, supplies on hand is $760. Okay, well, look back at your ledger. It's gonna be on the first page of your ledger. Look down at the bottom at supplies. What is your current supplies balance? $2,000. You see it? And they're telling us we actually have $760. So we need to take 2,000 minus 760 to find our adjustment amount. Is that right? Yeah, whatever. You don't care either. It's all right. I understand. Been there. Long time ago. I've been that long since I was in my master's program. I sure didn't care about a lot of stuff, so I get it. All right, so we're gonna expense $12.40 of supplies. This means we've used them up and we're gonna get them out of our supplies account because we don't have them anymore. We've used them. Okay. So the next thing is the balance in prepaid insurance represents a December 1 prepayment of insurance for 12 months. So at the end of December, we've used up 1 month of insurance. So what's our prepaid insurance balance? You're going to have to look for it. See, sometimes they'll give us a trial balance. This time we have a ledger, huh? $2,400. So if we're going to show 1 month of expense, how much is that? We could divide 2,400 huh? All right. So what are we going to expense? Insurance expense. And what are we going to credit? I'm sorry, what? It is prepaid insurance. This is showing that 1 month of our insurance coverage has now expired. And so we're going to show it as an expense because we paid for it. We've got the coverage, so we're going to move it to expense. All right, depreciation expense on office equipment for the year is estimated at $50. So it was a cheap piece of office equipment. So we're going to debit depreciation expense. We're going to credit accumulated depreciation office equipment. $50. All right. Do we do them all? I think so. And I said, assume your journal page is number 4. I didn't read the rest of it. 4 minutes. All right. Bring this back with you Wednesday. We're going to finish this part because I want y'all to see from beginning to end with one company. So I want to bring this with you. We're going to post to the ledger and do the adjusted trial balance, and then we're going to move to chapter 4. I have got chapter 4 reading guide for you because I know y'all read. See, I have to attempt to get you to read some kind of way. So you can pick one of these up on the way out if you want. Rather than y'all waiting for me to pass them out. I'll just hand them to you. Come by and put my contamination mask on. Thank you.
Yeah, last time we did this in stuff in the whole bag.
What do you want about it? Thank you. I like your little dress. You look awesome. I said I like your little dress. Oh, you look nice. I'm trying to wear her. Did you? Mine? Yes, it is. I can't tell you what Emily talked about it, but it'll be all right. Y'all have a good day. Yes, sir. Sure. Can I help you print something? Where is it? Have you got your laptop with you? You can. It could be easier. You're gonna send it to me anyway, or you'll send it to me. Yeah, what's the information? You can actually, we can unplug it. I don't care. You tell me. Okay. Why don't you send it to me? I'm sure you'll email it to me.
Easy.
If it'll let me in here. Something. it might be more handy. Keep telling me I'm choosing the password. It's not. You seen it? Is that your regular email? You sent it to me? Oh, okay. It's Stacie, Stacie, .Brinson, Brinson, at hindcc.edu. Is it just one page?
Yes. Oh,
Oh, all, okay. Yeah, you want them on Friday too? Yeah, we usually put them in. Because even everybody that said they wanted to come on Friday, they don't always come, so. And that's fine, I mean, you're not required to come on Friday. Same.
it's crazy.
Just be the same time as us. We'll put you on Friday. Okay. Yeah, we got plenty of room. There's only 4 or 5 people that come. Sure, you're welcome.